Greetings everyone from the kitchen of Richard Gosakai Buddhist Center of Los Angeles. Kitchen dining, actually. In this video, I want to do a little bit of recap and the in-depth conversation about the last topic, Eightfold Path. Because of time limitation, I couldn't go deeper as I wanted. So this video will help you bolster and hopefully have some, all right, I'm going to try that out of these 8. So let's review a little bit and go dive into a deeper level of Eightfold Path. So these are 8 Eightfold Path: the right view, thought, speech, action or habit, effort, livelihood, mindfulness, and concentration. So this is based on the Buddhist 5 precepts. So this is the guidelines for the moral behavior of our everyday life. But this is based on the Buddhist insight of human beings are something beings. What was it? Do you remember? That was humans, Buddhism sees that are habitual beings. In other words, we are made of our habits, of our mind, body, speech, and so on. We are unconsciously picking up behaviors and the words of other people whom you encountered, especially when we were like a baby. And then we're still feeding these inputs unknowingly and picking up and integrating them into our own behaviors. So these habits are eightfold in the Eightfold Path. This is great news for humanity, because if the habits are the content of who we are, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and so on, spiritually, and so on, then that means if we start to change some of our behaviors, we can change ourselves. We can become some steps closer to our ideal self. I want to be more peaceful, right? We got you, because inner peace can be discovered through peaceful eightfold behaviors. Once we start to transform or polish these eightfold behaviors of our everyday life, we start to have more inner peace and more happier, more content, fulfilled life. That's great, right? So then the suggestion is the right view, right, and the right plus 8 items. As we saw, the right doesn't mean right as opposed to wrong, but right just means middle way in the Buddhist context. And the middle way, like appropriate, attuned, timely, harmonious view, thought, and all the 8. Right view. We talked about it as how to see things as they are, but the powerful motive is this. This right view, it actually goes back to our very first session. Do you all remember this? Well, this can be a circle, but this also can be number, and also alphabet O, but at the same time, now this is not like an eyeball of a milk carton dancing monster, right? The question is, this, right? All the answers are right. Number 0, if seen from the context of number, alphabet O, if seen from the context of alphabet, and this is an eyeball, if seen in the context of face of that monster. Is there any views out of these 3 ways of seeing the same thing? Is there any wrong view? No, right? All views are right. Each and every single view is correct if seen from a particular context. So what happens in everyday life is that when we fight with somebody, oh, that colleague is so bad. right? You are seeing this as number 0. But that colleague might be seeing this as only alphabet O. You're saying this is only number 0, and that guy is saying that's an alphabet O. You're saying, and that guy's saying, so that's got not mismatching happening, right? So what's happening is that only seeing this as 0, you are limiting the reality. You're not seeing this as it is, because if you can see this as it is, you can pose it, this can be, number 0, but this can be seen in many different ways. If you're open to other people's perspective, you can start accommodating how other people see the world, the same reality, but in different ways. Once we start to be open up to the views of the others, especially where we are in a conflict, especially I think I'm right as opposed to my kids, as opposed to my close colleague or someone. When I'm in the mode of attached to my own views, that's the Buddhist practice kicks in very powerfully. Always staying open to the views of the other. That's very important. And that's the foundation of right view. And as we saw, this is the explanation of the Buddhist concept of the emptiness. We can go further if you're interested in more, let me know. If I stick to only my view, I'm definitely limiting my view because people are seeing other ways. So what we can do is to say, I think I'm right, but I could be wrong. So that's the mindset. I could be wrong. That's the right view. Right thought, like right intention, right ways of thinking. What does that mean in the middle way? Appropriate, attuned, timely, and harmonious. This also goes back to session number 2, when we talked about the nature of suffering and the Four Noble Truths. In Buddhism, suffering means pain from the gap between expectation and reality, between the reality that is given and your expectation about that given reality. When you suffer, when you feel pain from this gap, that's an experience of suffering. And the goal of Buddhism is the end of suffering. So for instance, when I was having some difficult time with my sister, when she's 3 years younger than me, last year, when I was about to graduate from the university in Chicago, I wanted to ask my mother in Japan to come. And my dad is already gone, so she's only my parent. And my sister, who's closely lives close to her, stopped it. She was very adamant and she didn't really listen to it. Having a baby at the time, my sister, and she said she had a lot of worries at the time. Missing my mom, even for a week or 2 weeks, meant such a hugely great deal for her. And at the same time, I didn't know until when I would be able to stay in the U.S. What if that could be the last year I could stay in the U.S.? I'm glad that I now live in L.A. to meet you. Great, right? So I thought that might be a last chance. I really want to make sure that she comes visit me in the U.S. She's never come here. But my sister didn't listen to me. So I want my sister, so the reality is that she doesn't change. My expectation is that she changes and convinced. But she never did that. So my conversation and dialogue with my sister started, and it was a very painful and very frustrating process. She never compromising her expectation about me. I could have snatched my mom and purchased a ticket for her, ignoring what my sister was thinking about, to achieve my purpose of having her in the U.S. Maybe sometimes that's necessary, But this time, I realized, okay, if I've done that, that would leave maybe everlasting mental scar on my sister's mind. Because in my household, my father was the one, according to my sister's perspective, the only person who protected my sister. When she said that a couple of years ago, I was really surprised and shocked. My mom and I were like, oh my Buddha, what are you talking about? Sister felt she growing up with emotional difficulty because of me and my mom. That's how she's seeing. That's her reality. I can't deny that. That's where her pain is. As soon as I saw her pain, okay, embedded underneath pain, underneath the claim that no, Kyohei, I don't want your mom. I want my mom to stay close with me, during your graduation included. As soon as I saw her pain, I felt that my expectation was kind of given up. Okay, I can never change my sister. If I ignore her, it's gonna further ruin my relationship with my sister. I don't want to see that happening. My dad will be sad. So, instead of changing the reality, changing my sister, who she is, I gave that up. And instead, I started to change my expectation. I mean, as soon as I saw her pain, it's weird. This expectation was gone. All right, I just accept this reality. Let me go with it. As soon as I accepted the inability to achieve my expectation and accept the reality as is, there will be no gap. Why? Because the other pole of the gap is gone. Reality itself, on its own, apart from any expectation, cannot create any gap. So this is the right thought. Where to focus on? If I have some difficulty with the reality and I want to change something into this, we oftentimes tend to change this given reality. But by looking at, clearly recognizing the pain of the other, struggle by listening, patient, taking time, though it's tiring. Once you see the pain of the other, expectation will be gone. When the expectation is gone, what you will see is either you just accept the reality or from the viewpoint of seeing the pain. The words you say, the thoughts you express to that person, and the actions and effort and how to put your mind focus on vis-a-vis that person will start to change. This miracle behavior change of myself is based on foundational, this, right view, and Buddhist insight of analysis of suffering and the pain. Suffering coming from the pain, from the gap between expectation and reality. That's so powerful. But in order to make these, right thought, right view happening, and naturally coming out, right speech, right action, and so on, what's very important is mindfulness, right concentration. So this can be your everyday meditation practice, music healing practice, or in my case, of majority of Rishoi Kosekai people and members and friends, it's a sutra recitation. It's very powerful. So it goes like, this place is indeed the place of the way, or something like that. So there's a singing and a feeling vibration. So it calms my heart and helps me get away from being the conceptual, heady person to heart person. Once you calm yourself and feel the voice from yourself, that means you will be able to listen to the voice of your inner voice I mean, that's your voice. What intuitive feeling that drives you rather than thinking, right? Your intuition, if it's polished, it's a gem. That's the voice within yourself. That's the voice of the inner peace. When we are fighting, or especially when you're about to be mugged by someone, or if you feel an urgency, you tend to lose this. But the power of sutra recitation practice or meditation or whatever the form that fits you, it really helps you to maintain these essential actions, including right views, right thought, right speech, and so on. So here's what happened to me last year. So that was a scam call. He was saying something like, I want to buy your bed for $300, so let my sister who lives close to you pick it up this afternoon because I live far for a business trip right now or something like that. So he will send me $300 immediately. So please wait for it. And I said, okay. But I was a little suspicious because, he didn't look at the bed itself and buying the $300 purchase. Maybe he's an easy person to buy, right? Next moment, I got an email from Citibank, it looked like, saying, because your Zelle money transfer account is not the business account, you can't receive the money from that person. And I thought, okay, Citibank sent me a message, but business account, I've never heard of that. And what does it say? If you pay $300 to Citibank right now, you should be able to receive the money sent to you through Zelle immediately. And after that, your $300 that you paid for the Citibank will be reimbursed. I was very busy. We're in the middle of a yard sale. People talking to us, how much is this, how much is that? And, I needed to do work on the changing and so on. So in the midst of that, I got a call. And I only had the 1 week before I left for Japan, right? So I was so busy. 2 seconds before I hit the button, send to Zelle $300, I had a feeling, or heard a voice within. I mean, it's not physical voice, but got an intuition, right? Something must be wrong. And I immediately called that guy and said, let's do a face-to-face phone. Show me your face. And he refused to show his face 3 times. And I said, 4th time, show me your face. Let's talk. Trust is important. And he finally did it. The background was not America. Somewhere with the very different landscape. Mountains, the material of the house he was in. And he, after 2 seconds, he just switched back into no face, no camera. And I said, police is on the way. And he hung up. So that means he was the one who sent that email under the guise of Citibank to my email. Yeah, I think we started the email conversation first. So that's how he got the email first. And he was pretending to Citibank. And he was the one who was about to get my $300. But I didn't. Because in that moment I was very busy, right? So many things going on. But right that moment, I felt as if time stopped. That was this. Right mindfulness. comes from everyday practice of right concentration. Because of this hearing and always tapped into your inner self through the everyday training, it doesn't come, all of a sudden. You need to train every day, like 3 months, and then you will have really good results. So this is the power of Eightfold Path. You wouldn't be absorbed into the chaotic phenomenal world as long as you are always tapped into the nature of your true self. Source, that's your inner peace within yourself. When things are especially busy, I can maintain that momentary, like a timeless moment of calm, serenity, peace. That's the inner peace. So today is Friday. I hope you will be able to feel, this is something I want to try more over this weekend. And please, by all means, if you discover something, let me know by emailing me, sharing your comments in the Slack, or report that in the final class. The final class about the listening. So the Eightfold Path is a personal transformation. Listening practice is an interpersonal transformation. So that's what we are encouraged to facilitate in our everyday life. Once you deepen this practice, life becomes even more joyful by this listening practice. So please look forward to that final session. And if you have any comments or questions, make sure to leave them on the comments below.